Aspen Pharmacare has reported a decline in headline earnings per share, falling 33% in the first half. Now, the drop was driven largely by one-off restructuring costs of 695 million rand linked to its sterile finished dosage manufacturing facilities in South Africa and France. Company CFO Sean Capazorio joins us now with greater insight into the numbers and what lies ahead for the company. Sean, thank you so much for your time today. So revenue ticking higher, but HEPS, of course, as I mentioned, down over a third, mainly due to that one-off cost of just under 700 million rand. Using that as a starting point, perhaps characterize the half year that was, taking a look at particularly what played out operationally.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tallene. Yeah, I think if you just put it in context, last year in the first half, we had a very large contract in our French facility that gave us quite a very big contribution of over 1.5 billion rand in our half last year. And that contract, if you remember, we lost that contract, following a dispute in the second half. So in the second half of last year, we took a big negative from that contract. So what you're looking at now is you're looking at two halves. First half with the benefit of that contract, and the second half without the benefit of that contract, and obviously being negatively impacted. So I think that's also been quite a big impact on this first half from an operational perspective. In this half as well, we've, once following the loss of that contract and looking at our sterile facilities, we had a big project to reshape both those facilities, and so we've successfully navigated that over this period, both in France and South Africa, and we will see the benefits of that coming through in the second half. So those restructuring costs together with the loss of the contract, I think, are what's weighing on the first half results.
Okay.
But however, looking to the second half, you will see the benefits coming through, and we do foresee a strong second half. That's on the manufacturing side, and on the commercial pharma side, which is our main business segment, they grew profits this half double digit and also grew turnover. So a very nice performance from our pharmaceuticals division, and manufacturing was really impacted by the loss of that contract and then obviously the restructuring costs that you've mentioned.
All right, so we'll start seeing, I guess, normalized earnings moving into the second half of the year.
Absolutely.
Sean, I want to talk to you about currency fluctuations and perhaps the strength that we've seen in the rand and how you're managing that risk, particularly when it comes to your top line growth.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because we've got quite a diversified business. So we've got revenue in euros, we've got revenue in Chinese renminbi, Australian dollars, and then obviously all the other emerging market currencies. So the rand has pretty much strengthened against most of those currencies over this period, which means that we're showing less rand profit, because obviously those currencies, when you convert them into rands, you're getting less rand profit. The one that's the opposite way around is the euro. So the euro actually did weaken this half again. I mean, the rand weakened against the euro this half. So there you're seeing a sort of an opposite effect. So when you put the two together, it's a fairly sort of diversified, they sort of more or less cancel out, at this stage from a revenue perspective.
Okay.
But going forward, I think the strong rand will continue to impact rand performance, because I think the rand, from January onwards, January onwards, has been very, very strong against all currencies, so even including the euro. So it's certainly something that we need to watch. It's not really in our control because all those businesses are running in foreign currency, and so at this stage, it's just something that we do measure ourselves in constant exchange rate. So all of our operational metrics are in constant exchange rate, and we just cognizant of the rand strength.
Let's talk about what you can control then. Zooming into the commercial units that you highlighted, injectables are seeing a major uptake here in South Africa. Just talk us through that growth, and is demand for products like Mounjaro continuing to exceed expectations?
Absolutely. I think we've, since I think we last spoke, which was I think in September, we've got the approval for the quick pen delivery system for Mounjaro, which is a much simpler system. It's a 4-dose a month quick release pen, and we've also got the indication for weight loss management. And I think those two together with the diabetes indication, you know, we've been able to enjoy a very strong growth in demand over this period. So that has been quite a major feature of our growth in injectables, in particularly in South Africa over this half. So a really good performance, and we do expect you know, that strong performance to continue into the second half and also into FY27.
And just take us through the rationale around the sale of Aspen APEC, a really big strategic move. How will this divestment impact, I guess, your balance sheet, debt levels, and capacity for future growth?
Yeah, we're very pleased. I think we got a very strong multiple for that business, around 11 times EBITDA for the business. So a really good multiple, 2.3 million Australian dollars. So just that depends what exchange rate you're looking at, but it's around 27 billion rand. So from a debt perspective, you know, the benefits of that transaction will pretty much eliminate all of our net debt. Gives us a lot of flexibility going forward to look at opportunities in capital allocation, you know, whether it be, you know, I mean, we've always told the market that we think that the business is undervalued, and if you take the sum of the parts of our business, that certainly we think is much higher than the current value the market's ascribing to Aspen. And I think this APAC divestment has shown that just for that business alone, we got an 11 multiple. So certainly there will be opportunities to potentially look at, you know, we'll look at once we've got the money in, how we will allocate that, but we'll certainly look at whether we want to look at purchasing shares or any other opportunities that are out there to grow the business.
Yeah, so
it does give us a lot of flexibility going forward, and it's a nice achievement for Aspen after all the years of building that business.
Yeah, so investors could be smiling all the way to the bank pretty soon. Sean, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for your time and taking us through the company's performance. Thank you. Sure. That was Sean Capazorio, CFO at Aspen.